Hello, and welcome to the December 17th paper edition for the Story Behind the Stories. I'm your host today, Casper Wehrhahn, writer, photographer, and archivist for the Neepawa Banner Press. Today I'm joined by Kira Paterson. Kira, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for hosting, because I didn't want to.
I appreciate your candidness.
Always got to be honest.
Besides, if I sit over there, I'm on your hard of hearing side anyway, so it just works out, honestly.
It would be a lot of like, what did you say? Yeah, I agree, but I didn't hear you.
I would be perfectly fine, but you would just be left in the dark for like half the show at least.
I can't be a very good host if I can't hear you.
All right, getting right into the paper here. We have some big news on the front page. Some news that, honestly, Neepawa has been waiting for a long time to hear from the sounds of it. But we are receiving funding and approval for building a new hospital. Kira, you obviously don't live inside Neepawa, but you live in the area. What was your reaction to this?
Oh, it was a really exciting news. They had kind of told us or given us a bit of a hint beforehand because there was a press conference, so they need to tell us something so that we're actually at the press conference. And they were like, oh yeah, there's going to be this press conference with the health minister and the premier. And we're like, ooh, health minister, something to do with hospital. I thought it was going to be an expansion to the hospital we already have, but a brand new hospital that just kind of won up to that expectation. So it was really exciting because sometimes people like get their hopes up and then it's like, oh, it's just going to be this. And then they're like, oh, fine. But this, $127 million for a brand new hospital. So that's really big news.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, sometimes with the little snippets that we get ahead of time, it'll sound like, oh, maybe this big thing is going to happen. But then it's actually something really small and there's not a whole lot we can take away from it. But yeah, this one was a very big one for sure. And it's such a big deal because while our current hospital is good, it has been around the community for quite some time. And, you know, Neepawa obviously is growing as well. So even an expansion would have been great, but to have a new hospital is just fantastic because it's been around for as long as I've been alive and honestly longer if I can remember. That I'm pretty sure it was around before I was born, honestly, but I'd have to check the dates on that. So to finally get a new hospital that'll be bigger and offer some more services, have more beds available, will just be incredible. So I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny because they announced it on a Friday and our paper is dated for a Friday. So obviously we can't build it on that Friday. So it was announced last Friday and it's going in this Friday's paper. So there's kind of a week between the announcement and when we have it published. And so there's always this coffee shop talk, and we had put it online on Facebook, on our website and that kind of thing. So people had seen sneak peek preview type stuff about it and had been kind of chatting about it. And I actually answered the phone in the office here, and one of the comments we got was, so I hear there's something about a new hospital in Neepawa. Is that true? Like, I would have sworn if that was happening, I would have read it in the banner. I said, yeah, it will be in this week's banner. It was just too late for last week's paper, so it will be in this week. You will be reading it. It is truth. It's not just a rumor. So people kind of had heard a little bit about it before we actually went to print. But for those who maybe don't go to the coffee shops and don't necessarily keep an eye on our Facebook page and stuff, they maybe wouldn't have known this. So we definitely thought it was important to have on our front page because it's going to double the size of what we currently have. It's going to offer more services like chemo and dialysis and things that people generally would have to go to Brandon or Winnipeg to get. And it's going to be just a lot nicer to have this kind of stuff closer to home. So it was really exciting news, and it kind of was in the rumor mill before it actually got published on our front page, but we still wanted to make sure that we had it in a prominent place in the paper.
Absolutely, because yeah, it is such a big story. And we should quickly mention as well that there are a few other locations within our coverage area that are benefiting as well. There is going to be funding for renovating the former ER space at the Dauphin Regional Health Center. to enhance its inpatient capacity as well. And I believe there's a few others there too. So be sure to check that out on the front page. And further details, of course, in page A2, such as there's a little bit of a timeline there for construction. It won't be happening right away, but they are going to be starting before the end of 2022. And this is going to be a long process, so it won't be done at the snap of a finger, but it'll be projected to be complete in 2025. So,
and as for one other big question that I know I had and a few other people that I've spoken to have had that we don't have the answer to, so don't ask us. People were wondering where this hospital is going to go. We don't know yet. They haven't announced it publicly. Our boss Ken said he figured that probably they have a location figured out. They just haven't finalized the contract or whatever it is, so they just couldn't announce it. But yeah, don't call up and be like, where's this new hospital going to be? Because as soon as we know, we will tell you. We just don't know yet.
We're just as curious as you are, and honestly, we've sort of been in the office trying to figure out where it's going. It's just like, well, it can't go here because that land is already being taken up for future projects. And oh, well, there's this spot, but oh no, that is actually spoken for. So we've kind of been trying to piece together where it might go. Like, is it going to go slightly outside of town where there's a bit more room, or where? So we're very excited to find that out when it comes down. And as well, we're also very curious what will happen with the current hospital, like what's going to happen with that, like if it's going to be torn down or if it's going to be some sort of huge renovation project to turn it into something else. It's hard to say, really.
Yeah, because either way, I assume that there will be something new going there, whether it uses the same building or it flattens it and puts something new there. And it's always interesting to see when something new gets put into the community, especially in a nice little spot like that.
Yeah, especially with the proximity to the high school there. There's potentially some very good benefits for whatever goes there. So it'll be very, very interesting to see that in the future. Moving on to another wellness story. Kira, this was actually one that you did. Tell us a bit about this. It's a wellness program that's going on actually this week, isn't it?
Yeah, this weekend, the 17th and 18th. And Jeff Descender, he is the owner and operator of Frozen Fire Studios, and Frozen Fire Studios actually is one of the kind of main contributors to, or main involved entities of the Light the Flame for Mental Health initiative. And what that is, basically, they have programs, they have some online programs, some TV programs, and then they're going to have this in-person session about different facets of mental health. So he let me know about a series of 3 sessions. It's called the Success Beyond series. And basically, it's going to be talking about the first day, it's going to be talking about success beyond addiction. And then the second day, there's going to be 2 sessions, and it's going to be success beyond trauma and success, or not success beyond, but the third one is called, success beyond the mask is what it is. I knew it had something to do with mask. I was like, what? Okay, sorry. So the success beyond the mask, not as self-explanatory as addictions and trauma. That one is more specific to mental health and people kind of struggling with it, and they're putting on a mask of I'm fine, whatever, but deep down they are struggling with it. So it's going to be for people who have been struggling with these things, but also people who just want to learn how to deal with and interact with people who have been struggling with these things, so that there is less stigma around it and they know how to help people if they can. So it's you buy tickets at Arts Forward. It's taking place at Arts Forward. The 17th, it's going to be from 4 to 8, and then the 18th, there's a morning session that starts at 10 and an afternoon session that starts at 3. So you can get 1 ticket or you can get all 3 tickets, whatever you want. But yeah, it's a very important kind of topic to be talking about and trying to help end the stigma around mental health. And Jeff Descender, he has some personal experience with this kind of thing, as does the other people involved with the Light the Flame for Mental Health initiative. So it's very close to their hearts, and they want to make sure that they can help people in any way they can. So it definitely was something I wanted to mention, even though it was a little last minute. I know that this paper, it comes out the 16th, officially published on the 17th, so it cuts it a little bit close. But if somebody sees that and like, oh, I can make that tonight and tomorrow, then hopefully that'll help some people.
Absolutely, yes. It's always fantastic to get these kinds of stories in here, because mental health is just as important as your physical well-being. And it can be a lot harder to see if people are struggling with different stuff mentally, because, you know, it's internal. You don't usually see external symptoms of that. Like, it's easy to see if, you know, someone's bleeding, but if there's something going on in the mind, it can be a lot harder to detect that. And like you said, like, people say, oh no, I'm fine, and actually they're really struggling. So it's fantastic that this is an addition to sort of the stuff we've been seeing going on in the past years in regards to mental health and awareness and helping people out, such as the Mouse for Mental Health Fun Run that we have here pretty much annually now. So it's absolutely wonderful to see that going on. So, you know, check out the program if you need it, or even if just you're curious, who knows. And yeah. Moving on to another type of wellness story, I guess you could say.
So many segues.
In some way. More so along the lines of physical activity and wellness. This is a very, very good story that I had the pleasure of being contacted for. We have some more news from Minnedosa, Valley Life Recreation. And they're continuing fundraising for the Squirrel Hills Trail Park, which is a big up-and-coming project for that community that will benefit people not only in the community but around it as well. Of course, with proximity to Brandon, a lot of people from Brandon will surely want to be using it once it gets in development and finished. But this particular story with the fundraising efforts, it is a sort of special collaboration between the VLR and a couple of Brandon businesses, A&L Cycle and Stream and Wood. This is the Outdoors for Everyone lottery. So they're selling tickets, and the prizes there, I've got described in there, will be vouchers to be used at these two different stores to do bicycles, whatever that you'll be interested in there. And all of the money from the ticket purchases will be used to boost the funding for this and hopefully make a 2022 construction a reality for the trail park. So very, very good project there going on.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting, because I know that Minnedosa is really on the radar for outdoor activities. They do have some nice trails. They've got their beach, obviously, with the lake and all that comes with that. So just adding another facet to that will just make them even more of a destination for outdoor activities like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And we had a funding update from them as well, just to sort of give people an idea of where they're at in this. And I believe I highlighted the figures here. To date, they have raised a total of $247,000 for this trail park, with just over $29,000 of that actually being fundraised through a fundraiser that was held just recently this year, the Ride Like Ollie initiative. So that was absolutely fantastic to hear those final numbers on that. That number, surprisingly, only accounts for about, I think it was like 37% of the total projected cost. So it's incredible, but wow, hearing how far they have to go still is just mind-boggling, but understandable, of course. Like, it's such a big project to undertake. And the wonderful thing about where they're at right now, though, is that they're actually really close to their fundraising goal that they had set for this year. They were hoping to reach $300,000. So hopefully with some more of the applications that they've got out for grants and whatnot, and with the start of purchasing tickets, because this did kick off actually this past Wednesday here, they'll be able to reach that goal, or at least become very, very close to it. So I wish them good luck to that, and hopefully people take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
All right, our next story here, a bit of a different story compared to all the other ones. Bit of a kind of a tasty one, honestly. Unfortunately, not for us because we didn't get to go there, but for Owen Devereaux at least, it was a bit of a treat. He was invited, as well as Ken Waddell and I believe his wife Christine, to check out the Kinsman Quartz II building. Now that's all finished, furnished. A couple little things here and there that they still want to get done, a few extra decorations and whatnot to make it feel a bit more like home than it already is. But that building is finished now, so they were able to go in there and actually enjoy a lunch there. So we have that on page A10. And it looks like it was a really good meal there. They had some meatloaf and whatnot. I think that was served with gravy by the looks of it. It looked very yummy. So yeah, we have a bit of an update there. Some people were interviewed with regards to how they're settling in so far. And it seems to be getting a really good response. People are feeling really at home there, aren't they?
Yeah, it really seems like it. I was there a couple weeks ago for a photo op for a donation that they received, and I just kind of I don't know if I was early or if they were late, something. I was kind of hanging around in the lobby there and just seeing the interaction between all the residents that were coming up and down, and between the executive director Dana Menzies and the residents. They just all seemed very happy and they were getting along. They were excited to chat with each other. It's just such a nice change from being stuck at home and isolating from everybody because of COVID, right? And obviously they're still being COVID safe, but they're able to see each other as they walk down the hallway and in the activity room and stuff like that. So it was really nice to see, and they looked like they were really having a good time. And another thing that we should maybe mention is Owen has a bit of a sneak peek of what it's like there and how people are settling in, but he also spoke to the chef that they have there for their restaurant, which is kind of the food program is included with the rental there. And he did not get that in for this week's paper because we were really tight on space. We had a lot of other stuff. So he's going to have a standalone story about the chef there in a coming edition of the paper. So definitely look out for that. Find out, meet the guy that'll be cooking your meals if you're moving in there. And yeah, definitely find some more details on that in a coming edition.
Absolutely. And a couple other details here is that at the moment they have 13 occupied suites, which works out to 15 total residents as of the paper date here. And by the end of the month, they are expecting that to be 16 and 19 respectively. But very shortly, actually, they're expecting to have, I think, like 50% of their capacity taken up. I believe that was by the spring.
Yeah.
So very, very quick uptake on that. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
I knew this was a development that was very much likely highly needed for the community with all the housing and whatnot. But to hear it being taken up so fast is just kind of amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. I believe they have about 48 suites in there, so that'll be approximately 24 if they have half of it filled up. And it makes sense that they're waiting till the spring. Nobody wants to move in the middle of winter, so it'll be really cool to see that flurry of activity coming in the springtime.
Absolutely. And it was just interesting as well looking through Owen's photos, both ones that are on the page and the other ones that we had in our folder and we didn't have space for. Just seeing how everything looks now being complete, because I believe yourself and myself have both gone through the facility as it was being constructed, and it's very different, right? Like going through it when it's got like it just really construction workers and some walls, right? So very different atmosphere now, and it looks very comfortable. Just atmosphere alone, it feels very comfortable.
Yeah, they've got Christmas decorations up right now. It looks very homey. It's beautiful in there. So really exciting for anybody that is planning to move in there or already has. Yeah.
And our next story here has a bit of activity. in the Rolling River School Division. This was another story that you did. A bit of a strike going on, isn't there?
Yes, it's in now, I believe it's almost 6 weeks. And I was there last week in Minnedosa, A, delivering papers, and B, to get this photo op because the custodians at Rolling River School Division are still without a contract and they are still on strike, and the students at Minnedosa Collegiate decided to join them on the picket line last Thursday, and a few other dignitaries from across Canada. I believe, let me see here. They had the QP national president, they had the Canadian Labour Congress president, Manitoba Teachers Society president, they even had QP Saskatchewan president there. So they had people from across the country coming and showing their support for these rural custodians at these rural schools in Rolling River School Division. I got some comments from a few of the dignitaries. I got some pictures of the students and the staff that were on the strike line that day. I was actually in Minnedosa delivering papers today as well, and I saw a few of them. It's a lot colder today than it was last week, and I was a little bit surprised to still see them walking up and down the street waving their flags and holding their signs, because it was pretty frigid out there today compared to what we've had recently. It's more seasonal today. I mean, it's not like it's -30, it's -18. So it's a little more seasonal, but it feels a lot colder when we've been used to -2.
Yeah, definitely feeling a bit chillier now. To understand what's going on a bit better, if I'm not putting you on the spot too much, what exactly is the conflict here that the custodians are striking for?
So basically, staff across the province, in all the school divisions across the province, have been getting a deal. There was a wage freeze from the province for a long time, and it got let up this year. So a lot of, or pretty much almost all of the school divisions across the province had given their teachers, their custodians, their support staff a new deal, a contract for a little bit of an incremental raise over 4 years. And the Rolling River School Division teachers, I believe, and other staff also got this deal, but the custodians didn't, from what I understand. And so basically what the custodians are asking for is the same deal. They're not asking for the same salary as the teachers. They're not asking for the same salary as the EAs or anything like that. They're just asking for the same deal of this percentage increase over 4 years, so that they can continue to be able to afford, especially with inflation being the way it is. So they basically are just, the point they've been driving home is that they're asking for equality with the rest of the staff in the province, basically. And from what I understand, Rolling River School Division did offer them a deal. I didn't hear exactly what the deal was. A couple weeks ago, I believe they offered them a deal, but they did not accept it. Obviously, it wasn't what they were asking for. So they are still working really hard to try and get this 4-year contract settled.
All right, so lots of effort for sure going on, because obviously you'd want fairness in that, especially with jobs like this. Like it's an important job.
Absolutely.
So, just as important as teaching, you want to keep everything clean, especially during these times of COVID-19. You want to make sure everything is sanitary as it can be to keep everyone safe and healthy. So I wish them luck on that, obviously. We have a few more minutes still, so we can mention a couple more things here. We'll go back to page E18 there, because we do have some other sections we'll mention a bit later on there. But we have a small history piece here on the Neepawa Chamber. I won't go into the full details because it is a short story. But the Neepawa Chamber has actually been around for quite some time in the community and area. To be precise, it's about 121 years old, which I didn't know. And it was originally actually incorporated as the Neepawa Board of Trade, which is also something I didn't know. So I was looking for, stuff related to Neepawa Chamber, like how old is it, blah, blah, blah. And then, I discovered one way or another that was originally called the Board of Trade. It was like, oh, okay, well, that changes things now. So what can I find under this? So I have a few dates in there for you on how it started out as the Board of Trade and when it was changed to another name and then the current name. as well as 2 snippets from the past archives there, from, I think it was the Russell Banner, the Russell Banner, and another paper that I can't recall off the top of my head, Winnipeg Free Press, there we go. I was able to get access to those through our online archives there. We were able to sort of look back at some of our own papers that are uploaded online, and then some other papers in the area as well. So very helpful tool that in researching things. But for this in particular, absolutely. So we have a few names in there in regards to who was at one of the meetings, and how that came to be. Kira, was this new information for you as well?
Absolutely. I had no idea that the chamber was that old. I know that they've been around as long as I've known about them. Does that make sense? But obviously as a kid, I didn't know what the Chamber of Commerce was, so I wasn't aware of that kind of thing. But I became aware of it and was like, oh, that's been there for a long time, but I had no idea how long it had been there. 121 years, I guess that means it's 120th anniversary this year. Is that how the math works out?
I think so, yeah.
So that's pretty cool that they are probably one of the oldest organizations in our community.
Yeah, it's always interesting getting to learn about these things, because obviously, in an old town like Neepawa, there's things that have been around for quite some time, but then you never really know quite how long until you actually go and start looking.
Yeah.
And I don't actually remember what spurred the sort of investigation into the Neepawa Chamber. I think it was just Ken's curiosity.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, can you take a look at this? And like, okay, yeah,
See,
sure, I can try.
I think that he thought that it was like the 100th anniversary recently or something, I think.
Okay.
Because I remembered kind of being CC'd in that email or something, I don't know. It sounded like he thought that there was a big anniversary, and I guess he was right, but it wasn't the 100th, it was 120, so.
I guess they'll have 125th in the future to put on a celebration for. That'll be, I can't do that math right now. What year will that be?
2026? Maybe? Something like that? I don't know.
You can judge us for our mental math skills later.
It's been a while since we've been in school, okay? Not as long as some people, but a while.
Anyway, we have a little bit more time yet, so I'll make quick mention of this story on page 812. There was a Ryland Bray who, let's see here, was picked up in the Western Hockey League prospect drafts. He was a defenseman for the U18 Yellowhead Chiefs and was selected by the Red Deer Rebels. So that'll be quite the change there. I admit I don't know where the Red Deer Rebels are.
Alberta.
In terms of Alberta.
I think so. I think that's where Red Deer is.
You can judge us for that too later. Keep watching, please.
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, congratulations, Ryland, for that. That was something he seemed to be really excited for in the story, and he just kind of had this feeling that this was the team that was going to pick him up. Something just felt different when he was talking to them. So I'm sure he's very happy about that.
Yeah, very exciting. WHL is a big league. It's not obviously the NHL, but it's a big league like Brandon Wheat Kings, all that kind of a thing. There's a lot of people that go from that league into the NHL. So that is a great next step for him in his hockey career for sure. Absolutely.
All right, we are starting to run short on time, so we will very quickly mention our special sections here. We have our Christmas greetings section, courtesy of the work of, Kira and Diane, primarily. I was unfortunately busy doing other things, so be sure to take a look at our C and B sections. We have lots of tasty recipes from Helen in there.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we do have to wrap up the show for now until the next episode, so thank you for joining us today. We appreciate any story tips or stories you've written yourself or photos to be sent to news@neepawabanner.com or call it a tip at 204-476-3401. always appreciate that. And of course, as a free paper, we love to get your advertising so we can continue getting the news out to you for free without subscription. So if you would like to place an ad with us, contact us at ads@neepawabanner.com, or again, give us a phone call and put in the word at 204-476-3401. On behalf of myself and Kira again, thank you for joining us for the Stories Behind the Stories. See you next time.